In today's lesson, we are going to be testing our listening skills, learning some new vocabulary, and practicing our pronunciation together. So basically, we've got 3 classes in one today. So let's get straight into it. So as always, welcome back to GSL-English. My name is of course Gideon, and I am here to help you speak natural, fluent and confident English. And today I'm going to do that by looking at 3 areas with you. We're going to practice our listening, look at some new vocabulary, and then work on our pronunciation together, with the primary focus being on British English. So let me very briefly explain how this class is going to work. Firstly, I am going to read a piece of text out loud, and I want you to listen very carefully as I do so, because afterwards I will be asking you some questions to see how much you heard and understood. After that, we are going to look and examine some of the vocabulary that we used. And finally, we will take that same text and practice our pronunciation together by you repeating after me. And we are going to repeat this whole process twice with 2 different texts. So we do have a lot to get through today. So let's begin with the first exercise. I'm now going to read this text out loud. It is not going to be on the screen, so I want you to listen very carefully, and then I'm going to ask you some questions. I just can't seem to get my head around this new job. To be honest, I've bitten off more than I can chew. I said yes to everything to get in my boss's good books, and now I can't keep up. I think I'm going to have to swallow my pride and be honest with my boss. Perhaps she'll appreciate my honesty. All I know is I can't keep going at this pace, otherwise I'll burn out. Okay, I hope you listened carefully. That is the first piece of text that we are going to look at. Now, let's see how much you understood. So I started off by saying that I just can't seem to get my... What did I say? Get my head around. I just can't seem to get my head around this new job. So clearly, I've taken on a new job and I can't get my head around it. Then I used a great introductory expression, which was to be honest. To be honest. We'll look at what that means in a moment. And then I used a superb idiom, an idiom that we love to use here in England, which is, I've bitten off more than I can chew. I've bitten off more than I can chew. And then I used a very interesting expression. I think I'm going to have to swallow my pride. Swallow my pride. Brilliant expression. And be honest with my boss. Perhaps she'll appreciate my honesty. Yeah, honesty always goes a long way, doesn't it? How are you doing so far? And then I said, all I know is I can't keep going at... I can't keep going at what? This pace. Otherwise, I'll burn out. So otherwise, I'll burn out. So let me know in the comments, how did you do with that listening exercise? But now let's break down some of the vocabulary that we used. I started off by saying, I can't get my head around. I can't get my head around. A brilliant expression. And if we say that we can't get our head around something, it means that we can't understand it. We can't come to terms with it. We don't really know what to do. Maybe you've had a task like that at work or at school where you've been trying to understand it, but you just can't. You can't get your head around it. You can't seem to fully understand what to do. So in this case, I can't get my head around this new job. Perhaps I've taken on a new job and I just don't understand it. And the next parts, I started with a brilliant introductory statement, which is to be honest. To be honest. This is a superb way to introduce thoughts, particularly when speaking, but also in exams like the IELTS exam. And when we say that we are being honest, when we say that before a particular statement, we are just clarifying that what we are about to say is how we feel. It's completely true. It's what we honestly think. And sometimes we use this when perhaps we have to introduce a contrary statement, or we have to say an opinion that might be a little bit controversial or different. So here, to be honest, this is how I feel. And then I used a brilliant idiom. To be honest, I've bitten off more than I can chew. I've bitten off more than I can chew. Brilliant idiom. If we think of perhaps biting or eating an apple or a chocolate bar, whatever it is, we take bites that we can actually chew, don't we? If we take a too big a bite, which I know I've done, and let's be honest, I think we've all done it, we can't chew it. There's too much in our mouth and we can't chew. It's too much for us. So we take bites of an apple or any piece of food that we can manageably eat and chew. But here, according to work, I've said that I've bitten off more than I can chew, meaning I've taken on more than I can accomplish. I've got more work than I can actually, physically, or possibly do. And why did I do this? I did this to get in my boss's good books. Good books. To be in someone's good books means that that particular person is happy with you. Hopefully they respect you. You've got some brownie points or a gold star by your name. And we know at work, if we're trying to do well, we need to get in our boss's good books. We need to try and behave in a way that our boss will respect us. On the contrary, if we're in somebody's bad books, they're angry at us and it's not a good situation. So then I said, maybe I need to swallow my pride. Swallow my pride. Very interesting expression. If you swallow your pride, you decide to do something, even at the cost of perhaps your own respect or how somebody views you, or perhaps even your own view of yourself. You know, sometimes we have to humble ourselves, don't we? And here, in this situation, I have to humble myself to the boss and be honest, saying that I can't do this. Not always easy to do, to say that we can't do something. Our pride stops us from saying that. But in this instance, I had to swallow my pride, get rid of it, take it down, and be honest with my boss. And I said, I can't keep going at this pace. When we talk about pace, that is the speed at which we do something. So in this instance, I can't keep going with this amount of work. I can't keep working this hard at this constant speed and pace. It's too much for me, because if I do, I'll burn out. Burn out. And if we burn out, it's that extreme mental or physical tiredness that does not allow us to go on. When we get to the point of burning out, it's often built up over a period of time. But once we have burnt out, it's very difficult, or it takes a long time to get back to normal functioning speed. Basically, here I'm saying that I can't keep going at this pace, at this speed. Otherwise, I'm going to ruin myself. I cannot keep working this hard. So there you go. Some brilliant expressions in such a small piece of text. Now, let's practice our pronunciation together. All I want you to simply do is to repeat after me. Here we go. I just can't seem to get my head around this new job. To be honest, I've bitten off more than I can chew. I said yes to everything to get in my boss's good books, and now I can't keep up. I think I'm going to have to swallow my pride and be honest with my boss. Perhaps she'll appreciate my honesty. All I know is I can't keep going at this pace, otherwise I'll burn out. Brilliant. We are now halfway through this class, and if you want to listen to that again, go for it. Or if you want to practice that little bit of text and pronunciation with me again, just do it. We're in no rush. Just relax and enjoy this class together. And once you are ready, we'll move on to the second half of this class. So now we are going to follow the exact same formula again. Firstly, I want you to listen very carefully. You know how this works now, because afterwards I'm going to ask you some questions. Here we go. I'm heading to London this afternoon. It's been a while since I just mooched around and enjoyed the atmosphere. I genuinely think the best way to explore London is to simply stroll around without too much of a plan. Don't get me wrong, you want to stay in the right areas, but as long as you don't go too far off track, you'll stumble across some amazing, iconic sights and definitely some pretty decent pubs along the way. Okay, I hope you listen carefully. Let's see how much you got. So I started off by saying I'm doing what? I'm heading to London when? This afternoon. I'm not, but I wish I was. Love going to London in an afternoon. Now, we had a brilliant expression here. A brilliant piece of British vocabulary. It's been a while since I did what? It's been a while since I just mooched around. Moo, like a cow. I don't know where that came from. That was a little bit weird. But it's been a while since I just mooched around. We'll look at that in a moment. I genuinely think the best way to explore London, well done, is to simply do what? Stroll around without too much of a plan. Well done. Now I said, don't get me wrong, you want to stay in the right areas. So you want to stay in the right areas. But as long as you don't do what? Go too far off track. You'll stumble, love that word, you'll stumble across some amazing, iconic sights. Definitely some pretty decent pubs along the way. There's always some pubs in England. There you go. So let me know in the comments, how many did you get right? But let's now break down some of the vocabulary. Okay, so I started off by saying that I'm heading to. Basically, this is a really natural and informal way of saying that we're going somewhere, or we're traveling or visiting a particular place, person, or location. Heading to London. That's where we're going. And then I said it's been a while since I just mooched around. I love this word, just mooched around. If we mooch around, we just walk around a place at a slow pace without a particular purpose. We're just taking in the ambience, the vibes, the atmosphere. We're just mooching around without a particular purpose. It's my favourite pace of life. Just mooching around some shops. Or in London, maybe you mooch around the little stalls where they sell things. Or the streets. No particular purpose. Just enjoying it. Just taking it all in. And I talked about, going for a stroll. A stroll is just a nice leisurely walk. It's not extremely fast, but it's a little bit quicker than mooching. Just strolling around, just casually, leisurely walking around wherever you are. And I said you'll stumble across different places. If we stumble, it happens by chance. It wasn't planned. So if you stumble across somewhere, you discover it by chance, or you meet someone without a prior arrangement or plan. And I often think it is the best way to see new places. You just stumble across them. You happen across them and it takes your breath away. Oh, wow. Look what that is. Look what I found. Sometimes just the best way to see a city, particularly London. You'll stumble across some amazing places. Then I said you'll stumble across some pretty decent pubs. And in England, when we describe something as pretty decent, it's basically means that it's good, above expectations, probably a little bit more than satisfactory. It will do the job. So when we describe something as pretty decent, it's good enough. You know, it's really good actually. We like it. We recommend it. And this is true when you just stroll and mooch around London, you will definitely stumble across some pretty decent and lively pubs. So there you go. We've learnt some more vocabulary together. Let's now practice our pronunciation one last time. Repeat after me to the best of your ability. I'm heading to London this afternoon. It's been a while since I just mooched around and enjoyed the atmosphere. I genuinely think the best way to explore London is to simply stroll around without too much of a plan. Don't get me wrong, you want to stay in the right areas. As long as you don't go too far off track. You'll stumble across some amazing, iconic sites. And definitely some pretty decent pubs along the way. So there you go. That is the end of our class today. I hope you enjoyed it. Nice relaxed exercises that we can practice together. Listening is essential. So I encourage you, practice your listening skills as much as you can. Learning new vocabulary, it's key to speaking fluently and also more confidently. And of course, pronunciation is essential. Practicing that real pronunciation, imitating the flow and rhythm of native speakers is a brilliant way of speaking English fluently, naturally, and confidently. So thank you so much for watching today. Please don't forget to give this video a like if you enjoyed it and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And I'll see you all very soon. Have a good one, guys.